All right. I want to welcome everyone to today's webinar called Ready, Set, Vegas. So this is your primer for everything CSC NACDA of what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be having on display at our booth, and we're really excited to walk you through everything that we've been working on. So today, it's going to be myself and Josh Fowler from our team. Josh is our VP of Product and Development. So all of this stuff is coming through Josh's department, who's been working really hard on this. So I'm really excited to showcase some of this stuff. Some of these things that we're going to show you don't officially launch until that week. So you're going to get a sneak preview of everything we're going to be talking about, and we're excited to show that off. Real quick, just some housekeeping items. If you do have questions, please use the Q&A and not the chat. We've disabled the chat, so please use Q&A so we can walk through that. And we'll do some questions at the end. So we're excited to walk you through it. So obviously, it's that time of year where everything's starting to wind down, and it's time to start thinking toward next year. What worked, what didn't, and how to get the technology that you need to kind of move forward. So we've got a lot of cool stuff to show you today. So here's what we're previewing. Number one is the StatView launch. We're going to talk through that a little bit. Upgraded score bugs. We're going to show those off a little bit. We've got score bugs for every single sport now that you can use for your broadcasts. Been working hard on that. And then Josh is going to cover a little bit about PrestoStats, what we've done this year, what's on our roadmap, what we're working on, and what we're going to have available for next year. And then record books and AI. We've been doing a lot more with AI, as you'll see. We're going to be able to show how some of that is going to help you out. So we're excited to showcase that. Also, we'll talk a little bit about some of the things we're doing at CSC and NACDA. So we'll preview some of that as well. So uh, the first thing we want to show you is StatView. So this is our standalone live stat display. Previously, many of you that have PrestoStats may have been using Primetime. This will not replace Primetime. We'll be clear on that right up front. That's typically a question that we've gotten so far. This is going to be a standalone product that you can use whether you have PrestoStats, Presto Web, if you're using NCAA live stats, any other stat provider, StatView will work with it. StatView will come with Presto Sync, so you can move all of your stats in there and have your live stat display, regardless of what platform you're currently using. As we said, or as it says here, built for the press box, tailored for the fan. This is built for SIDs. It was built for SIDs with SIDs in mind, and we actually have some of the SIDs that helped us along the way on this webinar. So we baited this with SIDs from every single level of college sports. They helped us with a lot of stuff, and we think it's a solid product, and we think you will too. So we're excited for you guys to get hands-on with this at NACDA and CSC. I'll also make sure that you guys have a link to the StatView webpage so you can kind of take a look at some of this, so you can kind of see a little bit about what it looks like. We are launching June 7th and 8th. It's technically available right now, but the hard launch is going to be on June 7th and 8th during NACDA and CSC. And we support every sport that we offer with stats. So anything from football, basketball, volleyball, your standard sports, but we also have flag football, ice hockey, everything is in there. Going to show you a little bit about some of the main benefits. As you can see, there's a field view there on football. We also have field view on baseball and softball. And some of the things we're going to be working on, we'll try to add some of that stuff. For those of you that are using NCAA live stats, we'll be working on trying to add more of a court view for basketball. Four things the stat view does. The unique piece of this, there's two pieces of that. Number one, it's got a broadcaster view. No one else has anything with broadcasters specifically in mind. This is the first broadcast review of its kind. We consulted with a broadcaster or several broadcasters, but the biggest one was does Westwood One broadcasts and does the main college football games on Saturdays. Um, and when we spoke to all of our broadcasters, one theme kept coming out, and that was we want everything on one screen. We don't have time to go tab to tab to tab to go find our information. So, what you will see in Stat View is everything laid out on one screen where you can click stats by quarter, stats by half. You can get to all of these types of things and it's really just done extraordinarily well. The whole goal is to make sure that you can get everything that you need to call a game at your fingertips. Second of all, Presto AI analysis. So if you have a website with Presto AI, what it will do is it will break down the game at the end of it using AI. It will not only give you bullet points, but it'll also give you turning points in the game, a bunch of different information that you can take bite-sized nuggets from, not only put that in your story, but you could also translate that into social media posts, anything that you would like. But that will happen at the end of the game. It only takes a couple of minutes for it to run through the game and then give you your AI analysis. Um, Next thing, it's every single sport, as we said, there's one fee to it. So with StatView, you get every single sport. You don't have to pay per sport. You don't have to pay extra if you have football. There's not any additional charges depending on division that you're in. It's one flat rate. And then finally, the personalization. You can personalize anything on the user's end in terms of color scheme. There's light and dark modes. There's even additional languages. We support four languages. So that includes German, French, Spanish, in addition to English. That's a nice thing for sports like soccer and volleyball. If you have international student athletes that have their parents watching it, so they can toggle that on their own. It will also grab all the logos and everything from the schools from our system. But if you want to customize it further from the viewer standpoint, you can customize those colors. And here's your first look at our upgraded score bugs. These are really fascinating because we have four different types. I'm showing you two right now. There's two that are a little bit different. And when you open Presto Stats, you'll be able to, you know, how it has on your event. You can either launch Presto Stats or use the score bug. Later this summer, this will become available and this will replace what we currently have for score bugs. This will be available on every sport that we have. So softball, soccer, all of that. The nice thing is that it does show this type of data, first downs. It will show uh, team hits. It shows at bat, but there's all sorts of data that it can cycle through, and you'll be able to go check out and see what information is going to cycle through. You can see all that in one place. It will update as your stats go in there, so everything will be live in there. Then we have the detail stats, ball strikes, runners on, everything like that. Here's all the sports that it will support. So you'll have four different views. Uh, on this, there's an additional space that you can add a sponsor logo or a special event logo. So if this is a championship event, a conference tournament event, you have a special logo, or you're doing a tournament, you can also put that within this system. And after going through all that, this is kind of where we've left off and where we're headed. So, Josh, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can kind of walk through all of the stuff that you guys have been working hard on.
Yeah, thanks. Um, so to get started, we'll start here. We'll backtrack in a moment. I was gonna show a little bit of the stat view, but we'll wait till we're done with the slides, just as a simple preview. And this is meant to be just a preview. We will be at NACDA and CSC where we will be doing a product theater at CSC. We'll also be at our booth where you can get a live demo of any of this. Um, But yeah, so last year we were at CSC and NACDA. There's a few things that we promised, especially with baseball and softball. Expanding the rosters to 99. That was a big one. Some of you have huge rosters, and that 40 limit just wasn't doing it. The pregame lineups, we've not only added them for, of course, the NCAA, but we've added them for the NAIA and JCAA, all organizations. I will say that we are pulling straight from the NCAA database now to where these pregame lineups are synced to where if a school is not using us for baseball, softball, it still pulls their information in there for the pregame lineups. We've added additional, I guess, placeholders for your DP and DH. You can now have as many as you want. Before you were limited to one. That was a request mainly from some of our summer leagues, but also some colleges wanted to add that in to where they had multiple. This year we've really looked hard at baseball and softball, making sure we have every scenario, every situation. This has been tough. Even Stat Crew didn't support everything. And, we have the same workflow, so to say, key press wise with Stat Crew. So with that, we had to add these additional plays, change some of the workflows a little bit. And that's been very seamless, I think, for everybody. Looking at Facebook comments and Facebook groups, getting feedback from customers, really taking a hard look at baseball before the season started and getting those additional scenarios in there. I can say we added a lot more once the season started, and we're in all those Facebook groups. So as they pop up, we were quick to turn around and say, okay, let's add this, let's add this. We've also added the ability, last year we had it for baseball, this year we added it for softball for multi-team reports within our advanced reports. So we have quite a few advanced reports for baseball and softball. And with that, we've added the ability to select multiple teams in those reports. That really helped for a conference level to where you can pull a full conference at the same time in your reporting and get all that information in one place. One of the big things also is we added season data to XMLs. We didn't have that before. We have season XMLs where it was driven to video boards and scoreboards, but now we added them live within the event XML. That way you didn't need two XML files to be able to drive your scoreboards and video boards. It was a lot more seamless than before. And we've gotten some good feedback that it's really helped. All right. So PrestoStats 2. We've been talking about it for a couple of years now, but it's really at the place. It's in a very good place now. To the point that next year during football season, you're going to start seeing two buttons. Anyone that has football with us will see the existing Launch Presto Stats button and a Launch Presto Stats 2.0 button. You can see a little image of it there if you haven't seen it before. It's a lot more, listen, it's a lot prettier. It looks good, it flows better, it's very responsive. It was actually built to be played on an iPad if you want to. So if you want to stat on an iPad, you can stat on an iPad. Our legacy software was not designed for that. You can still score, of course, on a laptop. That option's still there, and I think most people are going to do that. But it is very responsive to touch with an iPad. And there's actually already a app out there on the App Store and the Android Store to where you can download Presto Stats if you have it for 2.0. And that works for football, flag football, and tennis.
Josh, one of the things on Football 2.0 that I want to point out is based on user feedback that we got last year. We've added a section in the setup to where your participation will be done as you go, and then you can add participation at the end. You don't have to mark everyone as a participant at the beginning. I know that was a cause of some concern earlier. We have adjusted that, so now you can check a box and do all that as you normally would.
Yeah, that's a good call out. One of the feedback items we got is sometimes they don't necessarily know who's going to play in the game till they're getting through the game. And instead of going back through and selecting a new player for participation, sorry, um, you would just add them. They're already there in the roster. You just add them right there and automatically marks them in the XML of that. Yeah, that is a very good call out. Okay, your record books. Now, um, we've made a lot of changes this year. If you are a record book client, you could probably attest to that. So last year, one of the big things was, we launched Record Book. We had it available kind of on the back end to where you could start adding your data in. You could start seeing that data, and then you can download a PDF or an XML or not, sorry, not XML, but HTML and add it to your site. With that, we've now made it to where it's a simple publish to Presto website. So if you have a Presto website, it's a one button publish to the front every time you've updated your record book. And even if you don't have a website with us, you can still download that PDF or that HTML file and upload it to your current provider. We've gone through.
Okay.
Oh,
You guys doing all right?
career records.
Yes,
We've
sir.
added.
How are you?
Oh, here, let's see if we can mute him. Okay. With that, we've added in career records. So now we have pretty much everything. We have individual team, individual player, career, player, season records, individual game records. We have pretty much everything you need as a school to be able to get your record book in there and then publish it to your website. Okay. All right. At CSC, I'll be doing a session on AI. With this, I'll be going into how to use it within the industry and from your perspective as a SID or AD, depending on what you are. And I think a lot of companies focus heavily on game recaps, pre-game, post-game, right in the middle of the game. There's so much more that you can do with it. I'll be doing a session at CSC on AI within the sports industry and college sports industry. And I'll be touching on all 6 of these. In fact, I'm hoping to give you a little something to walk away with on basically a Claude skill that will allow you to make game notes. Everybody knows those multi-packet game notes that are sometimes 25 pages long. Well, I've made a Claude skill that you'll just be able to type one quick prompt and say what game it is, who you are, who you're playing, time and date of the game, and it'll go out to the web, find all the information for you, and build you one of those 15-page game notes with formatted to your color and roster images and everything. So I'm hoping to, during that session, go over kind of how to use it and let you walk away with that on how to download it yourself and use that, in real world applications. Oh, Brad, you are muted.
Yeah. Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and open it up to questions. I've got a few, Josh, that I'm going to go ahead and pose, and then we'll go from there. The first question, when will individual game highs be editable for record books? So a manual edit on those.
I may have to check, but I thought those were already added, individual game highs. It is manual, but it can get overwritten if you upload an existing season that you've edited it on.
When you enter it, Josh, you can just enter the um, the stat for one game, right? For just a person, and then it will include that in the game highs.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that feature is already in there. We've added a lot of manual editing features within Record Book, and I believe that's one of them we recently added.
Next question, do the score bugs work with Blue Frame Huddle for those that use those streaming services?
It'll work on any service that can take a web page and put it within your production software. So, on a production truck, for example, that can do it. OBS, we always recommend OBS. Basically, whatever your production software is, as long as it supports grabbing a website and putting it within your production software, you're good to go.
And then we did have a question just to confirm manually entering data. You can enter data for individual games, season, and career categories.
I believe career may not be added yet. That's something, if you want to reach out to support and we can get you a confirmation on that. But yeah, I believe career is the only one that's not there yet.
Okay. Next question regarding record books. Has a method been developed yet for uploading of complete older seasons beyond those already in Presto Stats? I.e., if you have older data being researched and compiled in Excel CSV format, similar to how schedules are currently mass uploaded via CSV.
So there's a few ways to do it. You know, if you don't have the XMLs, season XMLs, game XMLs, we do have score sheet entry to where you can go into those games and manually enter that information in. We do not support importing from like Excel or CSV, mainly because it's multifaceted, where you have a team stats, you have player stats. There's a lot of information to put within that CSV. And with that, we wouldn't know how your CSV is formatted to be able to import that. So we don't necessarily have like a standardized like CSV that we could just import, for everyone if you have that. So the way we have worked with that is we've added in the abilities, of course, for the manual entries, and we also recommend that you go to the game, you put in your stats through score sheet entry instead of live statting, which is a few types within that, and you can even go on a player basis if you want to. You can either put the game stats or you can put game stats and player stats within score sheet entry.
Josh, can these score bugs be resized for use on Huddle?
So it depends on your production software. So the score bug itself on the website cannot, but within a production software, you should be able to resize it. For example, in OBS, you're able to resize. Once you clip it, you should be able to resize it however you want.
The score bug comes in with a green screen background that you clone out. So when you do that, you would just resize the entire page to meet whatever you needed, and then you clone the green out, and it should be fine.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll help just me. I can show you the score bugs real quick, like how it functions, and that might help answer a couple questions too.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah, here, let me share my screen. I got a few games. In fact, I could have a live game going on right now that I have up. Okay, so this is stat view. This is actually a live game going on right now. As you can see, it has all the stats and information on there. Your player stats, and it has game stats and season stats for both teams and categories. It also has your team stats. Of course, it has graphical stats on the right, your traditional table on the left for each one, and it also has season stats for both teams and a comparison. That way you can go back and forth. And of course, graphical on the right, also traditional table on the left. Leaders has been one of everybody's favorite thing because first you have leaders for the game, leaders for each team, and this game literally just started maybe 20 minutes ago, so there's not a lot here yet. But it also has season leaders. So you have season leaders for both teams and both teams together. So if you want to see season leaders for both teams all together in one place. This is where you can see it. And as you can see, we have a ton of stat categories here. Of course, plays, and you can always filter by type, results, and team. Details is just normal stuff, notes, starting lineup. Settings, of course, you can manually select the color if you want to. You can change it dark mode, and then, of course, the 4 languages that we support: Spanish, French, German, and, of course, English. But the quick view, you'll see the field view. It is animated. So as the game goes, as you probably just saw a strike happen right there. It'll update you on the pitch sequence and how that's going. And then once there's a hit, you'll actually see, oh, there it goes right there. He just got out. And number 8 just went straight to the batter's box. Now, with that, we have what was mentioned, our broadcaster mode. And this is everything in one place. You can see by inning, by season, team comparison, by game, by season. Of course, you have your status box here with all your information, play-by-play, everything you need as a broadcaster. We even have a broadcaster notes. This is where you can add in any notes for the game, come back to it later if you want. As long as you're on the same computer, you can come back to this game, look at any notes that you had. Score bug. All right, so here's the score bug options for this game. As you can see, there's 4. And hopefully, when I click this question mark, do you all see that pop up?
Yep.
Okay, good. Sometimes it doesn't, whenever you're on Zoom, it doesn't show those pop-ups. So there's a status bar on the bottom of your horizontal full and your rectangle with details. If you click on that question mark, it shows you all the stats that it shows in that status bar. This is the rotation and how long it stays. So for example, hit stays for 8 seconds. When it gets to, let's say, current pitcher, for example, it has all these stats in here. So that's there for 12 seconds. So there's a ton of stats here that it shows in that little status bar. Now, I'm going to go ahead and select this one. Here's all our options for this score bug. Each score bug has their own options. As you can see, it gives you recommended size on a sponsor image if you want to add a sponsor image. It gives you all this information. Again, this is happening on the fly, so you're going to see the status bar changing, any scores, any of that information. It changes on the fly, so you can kind of see that. You can change colors, font colors, display names. So, for example, if you just want to put Southeast, or you want to put, Florida, however you want to do it, you're able to do that. Change logos if you want to, if you have a special logo for a tournament or anything like that. And then next, I apologize now, it's going to be very green. When I hit continue to display, there it is. As you can see, I'm very green right now. So we're going to change this to white. But this is the screen that you're going to take and put into your, let's say, OBS or a production truck. And this is what's going to put it within your production software. With that, you can use your traditional zoom on the browser to make it bigger if you want to. But I definitely suggest just adding it into your production software and then resizing it to the size you want. Hopefully that gave a quick rundown on that. You can see we have, football. I think you just saw that one. And then for sports that don't have that field view, or in this case, the field view is up top, this is what broadcaster mode looks like.
Great.
We'll go over it more in depth at CSC or Product Theater, and you're welcome to come by the booth, either at NACDA or CSC, and we can answer any questions you have on it too.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
A couple more questions that we've got. Does PrestoStats football work with Daktronics video boards for live stats display?
Yes. So whatever. Okay, there's some caveats to this. So we're still making the same XML file whether it's our existing football platform or our 2.0 platform, it's still the same XML that's being delivered. And we still have the same delivery options. We have Presto Sync. We have our stat partners. All that information, nothing's changed there. The only thing that's changed between the two pieces of software is the actual UI and the flow and responsiveness. So as long as you're using, let's say, Presto Sync now to deliver it to your Daktronics board, you'll have no problems with that for next season or whenever you decide to move to 2.0.
Awesome. Um, Next question revolves around tennis. Will advanced reports and record books be supported for tennis? And will there be an opportunity for people to enter individual results in tennis at some point for things like ITA tournaments?
Um, you can already put in individual, you can put that in there into the software now. As far as record book, we're still kind of working with that. There's not a lot of stats except for the wins, losses, and scores. Um, what was the other part of that question?
Um, will the advanced reports and record books be supported for tennis?
Uh, we do not have any report like advanced reports for tennis at the moment, but we are open to any suggestions as they come in. We have not gotten any like, hey, this is an example tennis report we like to see. A lot of those advanced reports are based off of feedback and information we get. So if we don't get anything, we can only assume that what we already have is great. We still have our stat reports within the software itself. Within 2.0, there's also PDFs and information there that you can go off of and reports. But if we don't have any advanced reports that people are requesting, we don't know what people want. So if there's something specific you're looking for, definitely reach out.
Awesome. Uh, Few questions on stat view pricing. Because we work with kind of economies of scale, and if you are a Presto user, there's certain levels of pricing. Uh, that is how we do things. So I'm gonna put into the chat our demo form. So fill out that form, and someone from our team will reach out to you, and they'll get you a quote on StatView. So I will put that in the chat right now. Um, Next question. Last winter, you teased an updated live stats view for baseball and softball. Is that still in the works, or has StatView replaced that?
Uh, I'm not sure what I would have showed in winter. This actually should have been what I showed in winter because StatView was actually developed late November, early December. So more than likely it could be this or a different version of what this was. I will say this was gone a couple iterations.
Nick, can you clarify that question? Can you unmute and clarify?
Yeah, I think the screenshot looked a lot like Stat View does. But yeah, I believe the context and I don't remember if it was December or if it was, like an early spring thing or whatever, but I thought the timeline was potentially for this past baseball softball season. Um, but yeah, it was teased more as an upgrade to prime time rather than a separate product, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been this. I think it was something that we were looking at doing, and we hadn't fully baked that out yet. I don't think it was December. It may have been a little bit later than that, but yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah, StatView is the only one that we've been working on. Um, I know through beta testing, there's been a few schools and even organizations that have been trying it out during the baseball softball season. So it could have been that too.
Uh, any way to have last names of the players on the defensive alignment in baseball and softball? So it would probably look more similar to stat entry, Josh.
Okay, we do support full names within stat entry now.
I'm
Uh,
sorry. I apologize. This is in reference to StatView.
okay.
On the defensive alignment within the field, instead of just having the number on there, having the name, the last name on there.
Oh, the little dot that's on there.
Yeah, yeah.
That could be a problem for basically the UI. That text is kind of small on that dot. If you put some of those last names on there that are sometimes the whole last name takes up 20 characters. So putting that on there, it's going to bleed over to other positions on the field. I will say that if you mouse over the dot, it does show the name of the player if you mouse over it as a hover over.
The next question, and I can walk through this. I apologize. I wasn't clear on the score bug piece. Score bugs are included with PrestoStats. So there is no charge for the score bugs. If you're using PrestoStats, you can use those right away as well, beginning this fall.
Yeah, I was about to say, beginning in the
Yeah.
fall, we'll be replacing all the buttons for the current score bugs we have and adding them to the sports that we don't have the existing score bug on. But yeah, that will be included with PrestoStats. And it's not an additional, like, it doesn't come with StatView, for example. It's not a purchasable item with that. It's just already included with PrestoStats.
That's it for the questions in the Q&A, but I'll open it up if anyone wants to unmute and ask any further questions.
Brad, the updated record book is already in production now, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that's available now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Further
Hey, Brad and
questions?
Josh, if I can ask a follow-up to my question about the complete season upload earlier in the webinar. I know, Josh, you mentioned like there's no current way to do that, and you were talking about sort of the ways to individually put data in, obviously. But I'm just curious: has there been any work on developing anything like that? I know when I spoke to um, previous webinars, some of your team members, there was a thought that maybe there was going to be some development of that type of a feature. So I'm just wondering if that's been looked further into, or if it's something that kind of really isn't in the cards.
It's a tough one because we've made sure that we've done the work and development to support season XMLs for other software. Made sure like DAC Stats, for example, their season XMLs are supported. Stat Crew, their season XMLs are supported. We've done the work there to make sure as much as we could. When it gets dicey into the CSV and Excel world, is no one uses the two of the same CSVs and Excel, so we wouldn't know what fields are what. I will say that for certain aspects, we've started working on an importer for CSV for like roster, things like that, like a more advanced one. That's not something that's released yet, but it's something that we already are in testing for. I'm not saying there will never be a CSV importer. I'm just saying there's not one currently. And that's something I probably can't even promise when we would be able to get into something like that. It's just something that hasn't been exactly asked for a lot, since most people have those XMLs or manually put them in. But in the future, maybe we might be able to get to, I know we toyed with it some, trying to get something going, and we could never find the best solution to do it. We try to do a lot, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. We try to plan, we investigate, we research, and maybe if there was a standard, we would be able to do that. But I've gotten some example CSVs from different people, and sometimes there are multiple tabs, sometimes there are multiple, Excels, and sometimes there are multiple tabs, and importers don't do that well with multiple tabs. So that's a lot of times where we have an issue trying to make an importer. One suggestion I have I don't know if you've worked with AI or Claude or even Gemini or anything like that. I can tell you that with the NCAA database stuff that we have coming in, I actually gave it an example season XML and said, here's the data, and it just started making them for me. So you might be able to take your CSVs and tell Claude, hey, here's an example season XML. Here's my CSVs. Give me a season XML. And that might be an easy way to get that information, based on your CSV to a season XML. It already knows all that information. I know I spent with OpenAI, for example, ChatGPT, like almost 3 years ago now. I was training that AI, basically all that information, the abbreviations, what that meant, what the structure is on the XMLs. And that's kind of how they have that information now. So they do a very good job on getting that information together from your source to that file.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Just one other thought on that as you were talking, which is I know you talked about, they're not necessarily being a standard or a template. One thing I noticed on the back end of the system was that if you go to download, there is an option when you're trying to download stats via CSV format from all the teams, if you're at the national or conference level for all the teams that you have jurisdiction over, it will actually download something in a prescribed template. So my follow-up question to that is, in theory, if I were to put the data into the same format as that template and then convert it to an XML and try to upload it, in theory, would that work?
Maybe. I mean, it's possible. Yeah, I mean, that is possible. It's not something that I've tried. Again, I've had Claude build most of our season XMLs from stuff we didn't have, from data sources, from databases that weren't our system or didn't have an XML, and it done a great job. But that's a possibility that it could, take that CSV and convert it to a season XML in there.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Any further questions? Okay. Well, just a reminder, we will be there in Las Vegas at NACDA booth. We'll be at booth 965. CSC, that'll open on Tuesday evening. So if you're a CSC member, you can stop at the NACDA booth on Tuesday evening. If you are there for NACDA, you can come by there anytime, Monday evening, Tuesday afternoon, or evening. CSC will be at the exhibit hall as well, which is an Islanders C, D, E, H, and I. Please feel free to stop by. We'll walk you through stat view, walk you through any of this stuff and more. More than happy to talk to you. The product theater will be on Monday, June 8th at 1:15 p.m. So definitely stop by there. That'll also be in the exhibit hall in CSC. We also have an AI session, which will be on Monday as well. So stop by there. You can you can hear Josh talk about all the different operational aspects that AI can do outside of just recaps and writing for you. So a lot of great practical usage there. Finally, there is a stats roundtable session for an hour and a half, I believe, on Monday, beginning at 2:30, if I'm not mistaken. But check the CSC schedule. We will also be in there and be available for questions as well. So with that said, want to congratulate everyone for making it through another season, and we hope to see you in Las Vegas. Have a great day. Appreciate it.